The Fujinon 25 by 150 MT giant binoculars are the largest lens-based optical system in the world that is available to the consumer and in stock most of the time without delays. But it's not uncommon to see a waiting period between 6 months to 1 year when ordering. Purchasing one of these will set you back just under $6,700 US. Add another $2,000 US for the tripod. You will also need to allocate a budget of $2,000 to $2,500 US for a mount. Most stargazers use one eye with their telescope when observing the heavens. Some will benefit from a device that is called a binocular and allows to use two eyepieces on a telescope. The result is outstanding. You now use both eyes without the strain that comes from squinting one eye when observing for long periods. Faint details are more visible to us due to the brain collecting more information from two eyes versus only one. But binoculars take this experience to a whole new level, because now, instead of dividing the light from a single lens system of your telescope 50-50 for each eye, you now have two independent lens systems, one for each eye. A mounting plate with two safety locking screws are supplied. This plate is just under 3 inches wide and 8 inches long. So imagine having a 6-inch refractor telescope and you are using a binocular, which divides the light of the telescope equally into both of your eyes. If you think of the Fujinon 25 by 150 MT binoculars as parallel 6-inch refractor telescopes with a 2.7-degree field of view, it may put things in a different perspective. You now have one 6-inch refractor for each eye. And this extra light collecting power is what makes it a game changer. The prism housings are interlocked to keep interpupillary adjustments 60 to 70 millimeters well centered. Each individual eyepiece has a wide range of adjustment to achieve individual focus as required. The fixed 25 magnifications that the instrument provides with an apparent 67 degrees angle of view is a very wide angle that covers 2.7 degrees of true field, all of which make it unnecessary for the mount to have precise mechanisms of tracking or slow motion controls like you would need on a telescope while observing at high magnifications in order to counter Earth's rotation and keep the object in the field of view. Just the same as with a 6-inch refractor that is not considered a portable grab-and-go telescope for most, the Fujinon 25 by 150 is a beast, weighing in at 43 pounds for the body alone and require a hefty mount. But don't let that ever deter you from the breathtaking views that they deliver under the sky. Vibration isolation pads are strongly recommended if you're observing on solid surfaces such as wood or pavement. Celestron, Meade, and Orion manufacture this hardware that come in a set of 3 units, one for each leg of the tripod. The tripod at 41 pounds is extendable for another 31 inches in height. 2 locking knobs are provided for each leg. This is a feature that will surely come in handy if you're 6 foot and over in height. The excellent optics of this instrument are keenly appreciated by astronomers, but also used by law enforcement for surveillance, the Coast Guard for protection of coastal areas, as well as sea rescue operations, naval ships, and by national border security agencies. The next piece is the 3-pound connector adapter that will sit in between the tripod and the mount head. Also, commercial fishing vessels sometimes carrying as many as 4 of these binoculars to search the sky for flocks of birds because that shows a potential concentration of fish in the water beneath them. Eye relief with this individual focus instrument is a reasonable 18.6 millimeters. 3 Allen head screws will secure it down to the top flat surface of the tripod using a 1/4 inch Allen key. The leg spreader bar at 2.5 pounds will thread right from underneath the top flat surface of the tripod and lock in place. The optics include the expected BAK4 Poro prisms and lenses which are fully multi-coated using Fujinon's patented electron beam coating technology to optimize light transmission, protect the lenses against becoming clouded, and to provide lens coating resistance to a major enemy of lenses, salt water. This is the 22.5-pound parallelogram series unimount made by Universal Astronomics, which has been discontinued. Mounting it is fairly straightforward. You slide it in place and locks with a very elegant CNC machined knob. The craftsmanship on this mount is outstanding and second to none. With the field of view sitting at 141 feet at 1,000 yards or 47 meters at 1,000 meters, it is clear that these gargantuan binoculars are meant for long distances. Hence, you'll not be able to view many things close at hand, as the close focus distance is nearly 56 feet or 17 meters. This piece of hardware at 9 pounds is the arm that will connect to the mount and hold the Fujinon binoculars in place. You can adjust the tension as required by tightening or loosening these CNC machine knobs. I adjust until I reach the sweet spot where the swivel action is smooth, but yet the binoculars stay in place when pointing at the sky. The piece slides in until the stop limit is reached, and then simply requires tightening of both locking knobs. Ensure the knobs are firm and tight to prevent injury and/or damage, because they will hold the 43-pound binoculars. Next, we will insert the 7-pound counterweight shaft for the mount, locking it down with a built-in clamp and knob system. It is key to ensure the knob is tight, since it will hold 40 pounds of counterweights. I already know by past balancing experience that I require the shaft to be sticking out 49 centimeters or 19¼ inches. This is something that you can measure and do in order to make this task a lot more easier when you're out in the field. Before mounting the binoculars, I ensure that the saddle is left open in a position wider than 3 inches. The spring-loaded mechanism makes the task so much easier. I will not slide the binoculars in place, but instead fit them sideways into the saddle. The fact that the body is shorter in most cases when compared to a 6-inch refractor f6 or f8 makes the mounting experience not difficult and feasible for one person alone. From an astronomical perspective, you'll find that these binoculars will punch through a lot of light pollution and allow you to see stars, galaxies, and nebulae you would not otherwise see and likely to exceed your expectations. You will be amazed by the number of stars, the 3-dimensional view, and the wide field of view. Installing at this point the 2 safety bolts is key. This will prevent the binoculars from sliding off the saddle when pointing at the sky, should the locking knob of the saddle ever become loose. I find that a ball-headed 3/16 Allen key comes in very handy for this awkward low position that I find myself working in. We are almost there assembling this beast. We now need to put in place the 4 10-pound counterweights that we will require to achieve the proper balance. A 2-step ladder sure comes in handy at this point. A washer and nut secure the counterweights in place. A locking pin for 3 set positions is a feature that the mount provides, worth mentioning, despite I find myself not using it. So how good are these binoculars, and what can they do for the amateur astronomer or even the professionals? Yuji Yakutaki, a 45-year-old Japanese amateur, using the Fujinon 25x150 MT giant binoculars, made 2 comet discoveries. On Christmas Day of 1995, he discovered his first comet, C1995Y1. 5 weeks later, he found his famous one, the Great Comet C1996B2. As an ironic twist after all this, he soon found himself unable to do what he loved most, comet hunt, because the spotlights of television crews followed him to his observing site. Fame, however, has had its reward. Hyakutake was flown to the United States in March of 1996 as a special guest of Chicago's Adler Planetarium, where he received hearty congratulations. Here is a demonstration of how a simple astronomical observing chair would work out in the field. Of course, if money is no object, there are comfortable motorized observing chairs that will accommodate these giant binoculars so that the observer doesn't need to do more than sit down and stargaze for long periods of time at the push of buttons or a joystick. For daytime, land or marine viewing, the Fujinon 25 by 150 MT make it possible to see an incredible amount of detail as far as 6 miles or 10 kilometers away when viewing from an elevation, so as to be able to have a straight line of sight. While this will not be a close-up view at such distance, it will certainly suffice in order to be able to have a very good idea, for example, of what people are doing. The Fujinon 25 by 150 MT's optics provide for excellent light gathering so that they'll be useful in both daylight and low light conditions, as you see here on both targets at around 500 meters away. Keep in mind that this footage was obtained by viewing through thick window glass, something that is not ideal due to light distortion that is caused by the glass. Under optimal conditions, no interference from rising heat waves, particles in the air, and clear atmospheric conditions, it's possible to tell a person's gender or hair color at 3 miles or 4.8 kilometers away. In this instance, we used the Fujinon binoculars to sight aircraft landing at Toronto Pearson Airport. A thank you goes to the folks from the AV World retail store that allowed us to set camp in their parking lot for the day. In looking over the Fujinon 25 by 150 MT, one quickly gets a sense of the quality control process through which it passes. The parts fit closely and smoothly, which is a testimony to not only the manufacturing quality control, but also to the weatherproofing seals. The barrels are made of anodized aluminum, and the interior surface of the barrels has a non-reflective, flat powder blackish-grayish coating to reduce the amount of stray light that makes its way to your eyes. Inside the barrels, you'll find baffling to further reduce the amount of stray light that bounces around, including 2 diaphragm-type baffles per tube, with one located toward each end. In order to strip away as much weight as possible, Fujinon has made the barrels of cast aluminum and then anodized it, which provides for corrosion and wear resistance and increases the surface hardness of the aluminum. While these binoculars are 37 inches long, about 7 inches of that length is taken up by the barrels, extending past the objective lenses to limit the light entering the optics to that which is associated with the image being viewed. Astronomers call that extra length dew caps for the binocular barrels, since they help to prevent dew from settling on the objectives during night celestial viewing. This is not a triplet apochromat lens system, so color is what one would expect from a fast f5 achromat with an airspace doublet objective. Definitely there, but not objectionable. For deep sky use, however, the color is of little concern. The mount will allow you to swivel the binoculars in a vertical movement from 0 degrees where the horizon is located to 90 degrees right above your head. And then of course, you may continue back down to the horizon again, which essentially is from 0 to 180 degrees. You can also swirl the mount horizontally 360 degrees. I like to adjust the tension in the vertical axis just enough so that the binoculars can be moved smoothly, but at the same time stay on the object once set in position. It's hard to explain with words what I have experienced while observing the night sky by using these binoculars, but I can tell you that the Fujinon 25 by 150 MT will certainly not disappoint you, and if anything, they will blow your expectations away far above the bar that you had set. It is a big investment that you definitely want to contemplate before making the purchase. In my personal case, I am glad to have owned and used them. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Wishing you clear skies. Stay tuned for my next Astro Gear video.